One. Okay, let's look at this topic, equations leading to a quadratic equation. Okay, so we're going to solve a couple of them today before we end the live video. Okay, so when we talk about questions that lead to quadratic equation, we are talking about questions like this. Questions like the square root of x being equal to. Okay, so this question right now is not yet a quadratic equation, but when we start to solve it, you will discover that it will lead to a quadratic equation. Okay, if you're in the house, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So this kind of question is not yet a quadratic equation, but then when we start to solve it, it can lead to a quadratic equation. And then what is even a quadratic equation? Quadratic equation is an equation that has the highest power of 2. Example, we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we negative number, right? But negative number, right? But then there are some quadratic equation that this middle term will not be given. Okay, so a quadratic equation can be without the constant here. So when I say two solutions, I mean the values of the unknown variable, right, would always be 2. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you. Now let's look at this. So what we'll do now, our target is to remove the square root. Remember, quadratic equation would have square, not square root. So to remove this square root, we are going to square what we have there. And whatever that we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So this is equal to x. Okay, so now, oh, this is equal to x squared because we've squared the left hand side. This will take this out. So we have x now to be equal to x squared. And this is now a quadratic equation. Remember when I said that every quadratic equation has a power of 2, the highest power of 2. Okay, so that x squared there is having the higher power, right? So what we're going to do is to write this one first if we must solve it. So we will write x squared first, then we write x on the other side. Do not change the sign yet, okay? Because if a is equal to b, then b is equal to a. So that's what I did over here. Now, bring this to the left, and it will give us x squared minus x equals 0. Okay, so what we can see now is that we have a quadratic equation that the constant is not given. Remember I said that a quadratic equation can be without a constant. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your presence. Thank you a lot. So we have the constant gone. We have x squared, we have x, and we have 0. We have the equal sign. So what we can do now is to factorize. Look at the two terms here. What is common to them is x. This one has 2x, this one has 1, right? Okay, so you bring 1x from here, and then 1 remains in there because it is x times x that gives x squared, right? Then minus x into x here will give us 1. So we equate everything to 0. Now, we are multiplying what we have outside by what we have, in the bracket to get 0. And if you multiply two terms to get 0, one of them must be equal to 0. So we'll now use one law, okay, that we call, we'll use what we call zero product rule. Okay, meaning that either of this is equal to 0. So we can say that x is equal to 0 or x minus 1 is equal to 0. X is already 0 from here. Or from here, if you make x the subject, it means that you're taking minus 1 to the other side and it becomes plus 1. So you're having 0 plus 1 on that side. So x is equal to plus 1. Therefore, to conclude this, x is equal to 0 or 1. Like I said, every quadratic equation has the highest power. Sorry, every quadratic equation has two solutions, right? So this is completely solved. And like I always do, if you follow me on my channel, I always verify my result so that we can be very sure that we are correct. Now, look at the two solutions here, 0 and 1. If you put 0, it means that you're going to have square root of 0. And then on the other side, we are having 0. And definitely, square root of 0 will give us 0. Yes, the square root of 0 is going to give us 0. Because 0 times 0 is 0. Okay? Thank you guys for your presence. I appreciate you. Thank you. If there is anything you do not understand, do well to let me know at the comment section so that I can, take a look at it. Now, let's try 1. If we put 1 into this, so that means that we will be having, okay, so if we put 1, we'll be having the square root of 1 to be equal to x, which is 1. And square root of 1 is 1. So therefore, the two solutions, x equals 0 or 1, satisfies the given equation. Thank you. I believe we all understood. This is an equation that leads to a quadratic equation. And we have been able to explain what a quadratic equation is, okay, and the general form of a quadratic equation. Okay, thank you. Monster Gaming, thank you. How you doing? Thank you for being here. So we're going to take a look at another example and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so we're talking about equations that lead to quadratic equation. They are not initially quadratic, but when you begin to solve it, you're going to get a quadratic equation. Now look at this equation here. Square root of x plus square root of x equals x. Now this is not yet a quadratic equation. We call this a surdic equation. Surdic equation because it has, surds. We are seeing roots. Now, to deal with this, how do we solve it? And how will this lead to a quadratic equation? That's what we want to show. So now, okay, so from here we have square root of x plus square root of x. Just like you have y plus y to be equal to 2y. Square root of x plus square root of x will give us 2 square root of x. Okay, so from here now, okay, so from here now, we are going to have 2 square root of x, and that is equal to what? X. So what should we do from here? We need to make square root of x the subject. This is not yet a quadratic equation, but it is going to lead to a quadratic equation, right? So we divide both sides by 2 so that this can go, and square root of x will be equal to x over 2. And from what I said before, our target is to remove the square root. Our target is to remove the square root. And to remove the square root, we will square it. And what you do on one side, you do on the other side. So this and this will now go. So that x will be free, and it's equal to x over 2 all squared. X over 2 all squared. I believe we are all trying to get this right. Okay, so Monster Gaming said x will be 4 or 0. Okay, that's nice. Thank you. Thanks, I appreciate. Okay, so let's solve it and then we'll see whether you're right or wrong. Okay, so let's confirm it. Okay, Monster Gaming said the answer would be x equals 4 or x equals 0. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. So from here, remember that x here is raised to the power of 2, and similarly 2 here is also raised to the power of 2. So if I should continue, let me take this out. Okay, so if I should continue over here, I'll bring x out. Then here we have x squared to go up, then over 2 squared, and that will give 4. Okay, so we can see that it's already leading to a quadratic equation. As a matter of fact, what we have right there is now a quadratic equation. So let's solve it ahead. So at this point, we can cross multiply so that x squared will multiply 1 to give us x squared, and it's equal to x times 4 to give us 4x. And this is the point where we bring everything to the same side. Don't divide both sides by x. We do not divide both sides by a variable. We only divide both sides by the unknown. Sorry, we only divide both sides by the coefficient of the unknown. Okay, so in this case, we have x squared minus 4x to be equal to 0. Now, we apply factorization method because something is common to this, and that thing is what? X. So here we'll have 1x left minus, here we are going to have 4, and everything is equal to 0. Everything here is equal to 0. So the next thing for us to do is to apply what we call the zero product rule. So we are saying that it's x to be 0 or x minus 4 to be 0. X from here remains 0, or from here we are taking minus 4 to the other side so that only x remains, and that will make x to be equal to 0 plus 4. So our x is equal to 0 plus 4, and that is 4. So if we go ahead now, we can say that therefore x is equal to 0 or plus 4. And this is what gaming monster, okay, Monster Gaming got. This is what Monster Gaming got. Thank you guys for your presence. Please, if you understood everything, all the steps, can I have a yes at the comment section? Okay, I'm looking at the comment section. If you understood all the steps, can I have a yes at the comment section right away? Because I want to be sure that everyone is following. Okay, Monster Gaming, thank you. I'm happy to know that you are still here. Thank you. Okay, now we have been able to look at simple equations that would lead to a quadratic equation, right? Simple equation that would lead to a quadratic equation. So we have been able to establish that. I don't want this video to be long. What I will do is that it will not be long, maybe within the week, or maybe next week. I'm going to go live again where I will explain everything about quadratic equation. Okay, everything to be known about quadratic equation will be explained. So I hope that you guys are going to be here when we meet again. to deal with quadratic equation. And I'm happy that you guys are here. My pleasure. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Monster Gaming. I'm happy to meet you here. Okay, thank you, and we'll meet again.